Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. It's always a pleasure to share these trainings on a Saturday morning at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And we want to thank you for those of you that always comes bright and early and starts commenting and greet everybody. This is what it's all about, guys. It's about team support, and we're going to talk about this quite a bit on the role of a sponsor. First of all, just want to recognize here James from South Africa. You were here at around 8:15
Early.
a.m. bright and early, so I really appreciate you.
Awesome.
Let's see here. We have Bashir. Welcome. Great to have you. I think you are from India, if I recall. And let's see here. Lou, welcome. Great to have you here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Yonam from Ghana. Great to have you here, specifically Accra, Ghana. And let's see here. We have Courtney from Ontario, Canada. We have Robert. Robert, I don't remember where you're from, but I know you're in the US.
US. Yeah.
Let's see here. Kim from Florida. Welcome. Larry. Hey, Christmas. Hey, Christmas. I know I owe you a call, buddy. I will get back to you on your request. I apologize on that. It's just been a little overwhelming. Again, from Ghana. We have here Bless. Great to have you here, Corny. And we have Bill. Bill from London, Ontario. Hey, Bill, how are you? Let's see here. We have James from the US. We have Randy. Great to have you here, Randy. It's always an honor. And Anne. I hope Anne is with you here, right beside you. Let's see here. We have Filera. Great to have you here from Belgium, I believe. And yeah, it's right on it there. And let's see here. I think we have everybody here. So thank you for joining in. Morocco, we have Mustafa. Great to have you here. Great to have you. So what we want to do here, guys, folks, today is really train you on a very, very important segment. If there's one thing that I find that most people don't really realize, even companies, even network marketing companies don't really see, is having strong leadership and having strong sponsors that really understand the power of leading. They are the team that will survive no matter what happens, no matter what you come through, whatever the adversity, the challenges you come across. If you have good leadership in place, I'm telling you, the team will go through, fire, through water, through everything, and at the end of the day, succeed just by staying the course. So when I say just by, obviously we do need to do the work, we do need to invite, we do need to do all the basic elements to build our business. But obviously in business, as we know, it's business has been challenging to say the least. Doesn't matter what you do, doesn't matter what country you're in, doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's just the way of the world. And at the end of the day, folks, it's because we're shifting. And when we're shifting, we need to adjust to the new ways on how to do business, and not only to stay profitable, is to be profitable and evolve from there. So at this point, Tammy, let's get started. And did you want to add anything else before I begin?
No, let's just jump right into the training. What's critical is to lead. I mean, if you sign somebody up in this business, it's all about leading people, right? So we're going to go through this through the whole session. You're going to get how to do this, but you're also going to get what we're doing every time we sign somebody up into the business, and we walk them through the process of the most important things on what they need to know in their back office. And we like to keep it so simple that we give them tasks, assignments, right? They do the assignment, we go to the next step. And that's the best thing to do, rather than overwhelming busy people. Everybody's busy. So you don't want to overwhelm already busy people.
That's an understatement. So the role of a sponsor, folks, this is what really it summarizes into, right? Become a beacon of light. Okay. So be the hope. And that's really important. And you need to lead by examples. And again, folks, I never want to point a finger, but I know that there's people out there that when they're not happy, they lash out, and they lash out through their downline. And some will do this through text, some will do this through email, and they start lashing out. They're not happy about this, they're not happy about that, blah, blah. And this is a big no. You do not do that, because your downline is looking at you as hope. And if you don't have hope, this becomes a serious problem in their belief in what they're doing. And if you want to create cancer within your organization, then it's exactly what you have to do. And what you will find that when you do things like that, you'll find that your entire downline will stand still and will completely stop to a complete halt. Very important. Lead by example. Very important. We'll cover some examples as we progress with this training. And you want to empower and inspire, not dwell and complain. When you dwell and complain, you initiate a cancer. And what's going on is you're initiating doubt. And the moment there is doubt in people's mind, that's it. People will stop moving forward in fear that, am I wasting my time doing this or that? There will always be problems in life, challenges. And challenges, I always see them as an opportunity to evolve. This is how we get better. This is how we discover new methods, new stuff. Don't get stuck on the problem. Overcome the problem. Become a bigger leader than you were before the problem. That's what problems do, is they give you an opportunity to evolve and learn. And the fact is, you want to inspire and empower people. Above all, you want to also guide people, guide them. You want to also train people. Very important. This is why we do our trainings on Saturday, folks. We want to give you some direction, a map for you to follow. If you show up for classes and you do the homework, what I mean by doing the homework is apply what we teach, you will see the results. And very important, and I often mention, is babies cry for it, adults die for it, is recognition and awards. Reward people. I don't mean that you always have to spend money. That's just not what I'm talking about. Just a card, just a word of appreciation. And God Backup is designed where in your back end, in the back office, and we'll walk you through that in a minute, where you have access to leadership report, right? Recognition report. You'll see the menu in a minute there. And then from there, you can actually download these pre-done flyers and with a beautiful message, and then post them into our Telegram group, your WhatsApp group, your Facebook Messenger group, your email campaign, whatever. Recognize your people. I'm telling you, it will propel your business 1,000-fold if you do these things. Anything, Tammy, you want to add to this slide?
Well, we're going to be going through, these are some of the things that we're going to spend some time going through, which is absolutely important. Our role as we sponsor people into the business is to guide them, through the new members, getting people started right. And like I said earlier, when you give people too many bites to chew, people tend to step back and they're overwhelmed because they already have busy lives. I like to sit down with the people that I'm working with to find out, how much time they're willing to put into it and what is their goal. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then it helps me to know how to guide that person. Okay. And then along the way, you cheer them on as they're doing things that, especially when they're stepping out of their comfort zone, which is what you have to do in every way when you're in business. If you've never been in the business before and then you join network marketing, you're going to find there's a lot of things that are uncomfortable, which is called normal, right? Because you're learning something new. So the goal is to help them get over the uncomfortable feeling that people have, and in the learning process, and to inspire them and encourage them and celebrate when they get over that hurdle. I love the maze here, Chris. I love this picture because it's exactly what we do, because we're always going to have obstacles, hurdles, new challenges, and it's getting through that and trying to get through that in an easier way. And what better way to learn the easier way than to show up on trainings just like this to give you that shortcut. Basically the shortcut is really experience. We've made all the mistakes that you can think of in network marketing in our early days, and we've learned a lot from them. And so now we're able to guide people in a way that they can flourish and hit every single rank in this business model. I mean, we've been doing it for years. It's for us, we can close our eyes and do this.
I agree, Tammy. And again, this image really represents so much. I mean, there's 1,000 words here. You look at today's environment, business environment, and this, when you're dealing with the tax system, the government. I mean, governments right now, again, and I respect that in some cases there's some use, but I think there's a little bit of abuse today. But the fact is that they're like leeching on you all the time. And they make things are so much complicated today than it used to be. So when people start a business like this, they come from it sometimes from different mindset, different age group, where some things that might be very obvious to you are not obvious at all to some. So the guiding process is very, very important. It does not have to be complicated. In the series of those sequence of these slides, we're going to walk you through on exactly what you need to do. You don't want to make things complicated. And the one thing that I found is people learn differently and apply differently. If you have a style in doing something in a way that you feel makes sense to you, and then you try to impose that to the entire world, it's not going to work. I tell you, the same thing that could work in the United States will not necessarily work perfectly in Canada. Or it's a very similar cultural, I appreciate that, but there's different things that are different. For example, things that we do here within the North American market, I assure you that in the Philippines, it will not work because the approach is different. The emotion around whatever you do might be different for them, where it comes from a different angle or different order. So as much as we're trying to make one tool for the entire world, if Tammy and I have learned something over the past over 28 years full-time doing business in countless countries around the world, is we've learned that when we go into a new market, we have knowledge, but we adapt to their market and filter the knowledge we have to make sure that it's compatible to their market in the way they communicate, in the way they talk, and what matters to them, and so forth. So be careful by guiding and thinking it's a bit of a North American way, right? It's my way or the highway. And it's often, and let's face it, there's a lot of success in North America, let's face it. But sometimes the strategies we apply in North America will not work in different markets. The African market, right? Phenomenal. But again, you have to adapt. So when you have knowledge, don't think that you're going there and you're going to teach them everything and you're going to follow exactly what you're going to do the way you share. If you want to learn from people who have done that for many, 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 many years, build a massive organization, you don't want to go there with this kind of attitude. You want to go there where I want to learn from you. I have knowledge on what we have to present, but I need your help to deliver the message in a way that makes sense. So this is why I want to convert. I want to communicate here. When you guide, be mindful of that. The bigger you get, the broader your approach has to be, and it doesn't have to be complicated. You just need to listen to what they tell you on how they communicate and adapt whatever you have to their market. So as much as we want to do the exact same thing for all markets, it will never work because people think different, talk different, behave different. And in fact, there's no right way in one way to do the same thing. So keep that in mind as you're guiding. But we will simplify the message here as we go through this training, this segment. But I want to share that with you because there's a lot of people around the world that are joining us here today. And we need to be compatible in the way to communicate. Very important. But guiding is critical. Give him the steps, and we will give you the steps here today. The other thing here is teach people how to fish instead of feeding them for a day. And this is probably one of the biggest challenge we see in this business is there's some people that will enroll someone and they just vanish. They're gone. They don't respond to their emails. They don't respond to their texts. They're never there to help in any way, shape, or form. They made the sale. They move on to the next sale. That is the absolute worst way to build an organization that will sustain growth, that will get into momentum. And often what happens too is we want the business so much that we don't want it to miss, because we want the business, we want the new recruit to come on board. So you're always the one that present. You're always the one that does the sign up, that you're always the one that tells them exactly what to do. And then months goes by, years goes by. I mean, literally decades goes by, and these people are never, ever, ever evolving, because if you're not around, I don't know how to feed, because your way of leading has always been, well, let me do it for you. And of course, the reason why often people do that is because they don't want to miss, because you have the experience. So you have to let people take the lead, make the mistakes, and then you're around to support, and never undermining the person that tried to do whatever it is that they wanted to do, the presentation, the sign up, whatever the switch may be. And then you simply partner with that person. So important is, for example, if someone says, Chris, this is not working. In the past, being inexperienced, I would do everything to fix it for them. Mm-hmm. Today, I say, John, here's what you need to do. Step 1, step 2, step 3. And I let them run with it. Oh, it's not working. Oh, okay. What happened? What did you do? This is how you teach. And this is how they will learn. And I know it takes patience, and sometimes we don't have that, especially in today's society. Nobody has time for anything. But very important, if you want your team to become you, you have to let them fend for themselves, but don't let them in a mess, right? Don't leave them in a mess. You want to be there to make sure that you help them understand what happened and why things are happening the way they are. Very important. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and you just said when you want people to become you want people to become their own individual.
Well, yeah,
leader, role of a leader for sure. And yeah, definitely. I'm talking to you, mamas out there who tend to do a lot of things for so many, thinking that you're helping, and you're not helping at all. I always say when we do things for others, we break their wings to fly. And Chris and I, even with our own children, even me, like Chris and I met later in life. When my kids were young, there's certain chores they had to do, and it didn't, they weren't going to get out of the way and of doing these things, because I'm teaching them how to be independent. And then of course they would complain because they, the neighbors' kids didn't have to do this. And, their parents were doing it for them. But I see my kids today all growing up, and they're doing the same thing with their own children. They're teaching their kids to be independent, and so that they can fend for themselves. And that's the way we need to show up in our business. Okay. And don't do the work for people. Show them how to do the work. Some people you have to show them a little bit more than others, because they really don't understand, and that's fine. Not everybody understands. I know I'm like this. When I first learn things, but if I do it a few times, then I get it. I'll grasp it. I'm a video learner, so if somebody sends me texts, often I'm not going to learn as much as I'm going to learn when I see something being done visually. So we're all different, you guys. So you have to adjust. You have to be a chameleon. We've learned that a lot, because there's no one way, like Chris said, right? If they learn better with some content, step 1, step 2, step 3, then great. We have to make sure that they have what they need to grow. That's for sure. As a leader, I want to make sure that my team members have what they need to grow. And of course, everything Chris and I create, we always share. It's all about creating abundance for the company. Everybody wins, right? Is when we share our marketing stuff. Just recently, Chris, I'll just add this, is one of my members was learning the internal wallet. And because some of the people in her market don't have access to credit cards. So I was teaching her how to do the internal wallet. I told her to watch the video. And she said, Tammy, she said, it'd be great if this stuff was written down and there was some, pictures of something. So what did I do? Yesterday, I spent the time to do that. Why? Because it's a great tool that, when people don't learn through videos, they have this step by step by step by step. And so we're going to put that out there for everybody to have access to. I just want to go back through it again and make sure that everything is good. So that's what leaders do, you guys. They find where the challenges are, and then they make sure that people have what they need, so it helps them grow and it helps them to teach if they understand it, right? So that's why we're very, very persistent in teaching people how to fish.
Yeah.
And then, of course,
sorry.
Once they have the marketing materials if we don't have them, I'm going to create it so that the whole team members are going to benefit from it.
Yeah. And this is really, really important here, folks. Very, very important is, again, teach people how to fish. Teach people how to fish. Teach people to fend for themselves. There are some leaders out there that, they feel that, oh, Chris, you're not involved enough with everybody. That's the problem, is you're too involved. If you're always there, what's happening is nobody developed their own skills, because Chris will fix it. Chris will handle it. Tammy will handle it. They'll do it. I'm not kidding, folks. People adapt very, very quickly. It's a law of least resistance. It's just a natural law, right? If you see that it's there, well, okay, someone else doing it, I'm going to focus somewhere else. And so this is very, very important. Absolutely critical that you let people fend for themselves, but you don't leave them in the mess. This is very important. Some people say, how come you got so many leaders that are doing so well? Well, I'm telling you, I don't babysit. I'm not looking for another daycare center. I don't want that. I'm looking for entrepreneurs, leaders, people that can stand on their own 2 feet. I will teach you how, but you have to stand on your own 2 feet. Because if you don't, then eventually, to support a team that constantly needs you, I assure you that once you start making the income that is the, strong 4 to 5 figure monthly, I'm telling you, you will not be able to sustain, and your team will implode, because nobody's doing anything if you're not around. And then you don't have a life. You're constantly chasing the business all the time. It's trust me, I've bought the t-shirt. I've sung the song. I my point in saying here is you'll have to let people evolve. Very important. But again, when they fall, make sure that you're there to help them, pick them up and show them why things didn't work out maybe the way you were expecting it, or why the software is not working the way you're supposed to, or whatever the situation may be. One of the greatest asset that we got backup, is network marketing. Network marketing, it's a nurturing environment. If you do take the time to do that, but in the same time, it's not you nurturing everybody, but it goes down from the top leadership to the second layers of leaders and so forth. And it just happens that this compensation plan pays very well the leaders, because the leaders are the people that are creating the environment for the rest to thrive. If there's no leaders, then what's happening is it becomes chaotic, and there's no structure, there's no momentum, there's nobody to inspire, to help, to train, to support, all of these things. So in light of that, know your associates, understand what's their purpose, what is important to them. Maybe for you, making money is a number one thing. And for most people, I would agree that money ranks right up there with oxygen. I won't deny that. But for some, it is not what matters so much. For some, it's the community, to feel useful, to feel they're part of something bigger than themselves. Because let's face it, folks, we are helping people live a better quality of life. I am not kidding. I have seen this over and over and over in our industry. It's not just about making money, folks. You are, but if you're making money, someone else is making money in your team. You can't just make money alone in network marketing. It's a chain reaction. So important is what's important to them, and focused on that, and provide them the information they need. Understanding that money is important. I'm not saying that it's not for them. It may not be what drives them. Does that make sense? And why are they part of GBU? Some people dealing with data services and digital services, I'm not all that motivated, or it doesn't really drive me. But do you know what God Backup also does? It provides an income opportunity. It provides an entry point to a business that most people can afford. And not only that, but if you understand the comp plan with the psycho match and everything around it, the income potential is phenomenal. But for you to see that, you need to understand the plan. Do you even understand that? Do you even spend 2 minutes understanding the logic behind this plan that creates the right behavior? So going back, how come you have these leaders that are making good money? That's because my point is I make sure that I teach and they understand the benefits and where to focus. And again, we'll walk you through this. We'll show you exactly what to do. And it's very simple here, folks. It's all about repetition. What we focus on what matters that will drive the income for them. So maybe the product itself, it's a service that everyone needs. It's a very inexpensive way to get in, but maybe that's not what they're passionate about. But what the business can do for them could be passionate, because now they can support their church, they can support their families, they can support their communities. I mean, they can turn around and get out of debt and live in abundance instead of struggle. I mean, folks, it's not just about the product. There's a whole environment around what God Backup brings into your life. And if you see that and you can transcend that to your organization, I'm telling you, you will thrive. Don't waste time with the naysayers and the non-believers and the cancer creators, the people that just constantly whine and complain about everything. It's okay. They're there, and there's nothing wrong about it, because sometimes complaining, it's important. That means it's something we need to address. It needs to be addressed. No question there. But why are they part of GBU, right? What do they want to achieve? Not everybody wants to be a diamond. Some people, they just want to make a couple $100 a month to be able to deal with whatever's going on. You know, there's an expression where if you get a glass of water, right, and you get a pitcher that's like 10 times, well, let's say 4 times the size of my glass, and there's a lot more water in my pitcher than my glass can only contain that much water, but I'm determined for them to learn everything I have. And I take this pitcher, which is 4 times the size of my glass, and I keep pouring and pouring and pouring and pouring. What do you think is going to happen? I know many of you have seen some videos and trainings and mentors talking about this in different sessions that you might have come in your life. What's going to happen? The water's going to spill. Doesn't stay. Doesn't get in. This is the reason why it's important to know your associate. Know what they want to achieve, because your goal, you might be an overachiever, which is amazing. We need more of you. But in the same time, the person that you're dealing with, it's not that they're not an overachiever. It's just not important to them. It's not what they want to achieve. They just want that. And who knows how things can evolve once they reach that particular goal. And what actions do they understand what they need to do? And again, we'll walk you. I keep repeating this, but we'll walk you through what they need to do, what people need to do. What are the steps? It is simple as... I don't want to say the word hell. That's a bad expression. It's simple. It's so simple. But again, you need to transcend the duplication process in the understanding of duplicating this and what it will bring in return. Once you connect all the dots, I'm telling you, people will run with this thing. And yes, from time to time, there's a few challenges here and there. We'll fix those, but don't get stuck on the challenges. They're only there temporarily. What will stay is the vision and the goal and what you achieve. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, and when you know your people, they're more engaged. When they know that you genuinely care about helping them understand how this all works, why they're here, what are their goals, what are the action steps that they want to take next week to get started. You can guide them to an action, and have the follow up, whether it's a text or a Zoom session or whatever it is. You got to move people along. This is so important, and never beat anybody up along the way. I always say be very kind and be very patient, because like Chris said, a lot of people are not patient in the world, and many people will lash out when things are not working. But if you have a good rapport with an individual, do everything you can to help understand where they're at and where they're stuck, and where often it's mindset, right? On their abilities, and show them one thing that could help them build their confidence to do another thing, right? So it's so important guiding people. This is my favorite part of building this business. See, I know money comes easily when you take care of people, when you make sure people are evolving, people are engaged, people are doing the action steps, people are inviting people to the presentations, people are showing up for the trainings. And I just want to say kudos to every single one of you who showed up today. That means a lot to us, number one, because we know that you really want to learn. But for you is to implement some of the things that you're learning today. And some of you might have already had some aha moments where you're thinking, I never really spent that much time with this person that I brought in, and they never really did anything, and they're gone, and I just assume that they're too busy or they're not interested. Never assume, you guys. You need to get back to the people. They may have been busy. I don't know how many times that I keep up with our members, and in the conversations, they might get busy. Timing's not working for them right now. Something came up. Love them where they're at. Keep moving. Get back to them. And eventually they're going to say, you know what? Everything has sorted itself out. I'm ready to run again. And that's when you're there, right? And then you help them get through that next hurdle of learning and growing. And in that process, I'm telling you, the relationships that you're going to build, people that will be loyal and will stay, is because of what we're teaching you. I know we've been doing it for, well, Chris, you're 28. I don't know, 26 and a half, 27 years now, but we've been doing it for a long time. So we understand the behaviors of people, and not everybody can run. Some of you are running, but then there might be somebody you brought in who's a single mom that has 3 young kids. School started a month and a half ago or whatever, and they had to adjust to get the kids ready for school and organize, and you can't beat people up in the process. Go get more people. That's my message to you. Instead of hounding people or having such an expectation for the individuals you brought in who don't want to run, go get more people and find the people who want to run. Love everybody where they're at. Guide them at the level that they can do this. Remember, network marketing is a volunteer army.
Tammy, it's interesting as you're sharing this. It reminds me a little video clip I saw on TikTok about this person that they were like, what do you call those barrels with cover at the top there? Anyway, so what happened is they were pouring liquid in it, right? And then they closed the top, and then they went from a tiny little bucket to a bigger one. And then they turn around, and the same person, or the image, the character, I should say, because they were not real people, they were a character. They were like bottles kind of thing. It was a tiny little bottle, right? They opened the cap, and he poured from himself into that little bottle, and the bottle became bigger, closed the cap, and it kept going on. And eventually one of them was a small bottle, like the other ones that when it started, but the cap was closed with a mouth like, unhappy. And the people kept trying to insist to pour it so they can pass on the knowledge. But the person was determined not to learn, completely closed-minded, with an attitude, with bitterness. So, and they blocked the momentum, like it stopped for a moment until they realized that this character that wants nothing to do with evolving was passed around. And then the next person poured the liquid inside, and then the bucket grew, closed, and it continues.
Yeah.
And this example, I wish I would have saved this because it's just brilliant to play. Because this is a prime indicator that we see in our business. There are some people that will fight you to the death because they don't want to learn. They don't get the results. They're very unhappy. And the moment you open your door to try to teach something, they are so bitter through ego that nothing comes in. So these are things that you also need to accept. Know your associates. It's part of the process. Don't get all wrapped up in worry and concern about this one person who wants nothing to do with you or whatever. Move on, go around him and continue passing on the knowledge, because it will happen to you. It happens all the time. Don't get stopped and blocked by this situation. What's very important is to get into this point. So Tammy, you want to cover the importance of creating target goals?
Yeah. So our total focus here with Got Back Up is the 4 benchmarks. And so that is the main thing. It's a simple system, and it gives you guided tasks on what you need to do on your 1, 2, 3, 4. Chris, you put the slide here. I believe you had that where you were adding to the presentation, but
in this case, it's just a creating goal target.
Yeah. So basically, your target is to do the benchmarks, right? So you're a member, you're bringing in your first 2, one left, one right.
We'll cover that absolutely later on.
Yeah. And then you grow from there. But what's important is not what you do, it's what you can teach. Okay. It's important that you do it, of course, because you want to be the example of what is possible for your team members to get to that level. All leaders should be higher than the people in the organization, unless you sign up somebody who's just an absolute superstar and they just grow super fast, got a lot of influence and stuff. And you never make them feel bad about it. You want to celebrate them and cheer them on all the way to the top. But what I'm saying is you need to be the example. You need to hit targets so that you can show people that it's possible. People need to know that it's possible. All right. When they're new, they don't know that it's possible until they see it's being done. And then they get inspired to want to do it themselves. So we're going to go through that after.
I totally agree. And the thing here, folks, is for those of you that are brand new here, you may not know the ladder, right? And we'll walk you through this briefly a little later. But what happens here is you want to make sure that people reach the very first target. What's the first target? Is to become a copper. And we'll walk you through the step in a minute. Make sure that you instill target goals to your associates. So we'll talk about make sure the software is installed. So there's an emotional connection to using the software, just using the service. Because I assure you, if they're not using the service, when the renewal comes around, they won't renew. Even if it's just $10, there's just no value. But if they've been backing up their stuff, from day one, that's the first thing. But then the target goal is you want to sponsor one on the left, one on the right. But one thing that you really want to focus on is to reach Sapphire, because that's when you start getting the matching cycles. So all of these things, I'm just giving you examples. What I'm sharing is not mean what you need necessarily to do. You need to create target goals. For example, in my case, when I train and I do repetition, I can tell you that if I don't have a counter, I'm struggling. But if I'm counting that I know I have 15 seconds, I got to stay 15 seconds to do this with resistance, I will make the target. I will hit the target. I will count the 15 seconds. But when you're struggling and you don't know the 15 seconds or the 30 seconds or the 1 minute, you know what I'm talking about, Tammy, with our morning trainings, right?
Yeah, we did this today. Some hit training. We had
Once
to
you
psych
know your
ourselves out to
target,
get through it.
yeah, once you know your target, you will push through.
Yeah.
This is why create target goals. Because once you have a target, you know how many steps you need to get to reach that target. It's a lot easier in your mind. It's a mindset thing. That's why creating target goals are absolutely critical. Not, oh, black diamond. Come on, guys. It's so far off. It's like out in space. I mean, how do I even get there? But start with copper, right? Even bronze. But copper is really the target. And the next thing is you want to be a gold. Why? Because the extra bonuses that are adding on as a goal are awesome. Why do you want to become a platinum? Well, because you're moving from tier 1 to tier 2. You're doubling your income in your cycles. Oh, yeah. This is what Tammy and I do with our leaders. And you will find that often I will promote the new sapphire, right? The new emerald. There's rubies that are coming up very soon, and very soon diamonds, because they have target goal and they want to earn those income bonuses. With some folks that are completely ignorant on the compensation plan, they have no idea. And they complain that they're not making any money, but they have no idea what those targets goals are and what they need to do. And they're not willing to learn or listen. Again, move on to someone who's willing to learn. That's how this works. Mm-hmm. Moving on to the next step is build your relationship on trust and integrity. You know, it takes a lifetime to build trust and integrity with people. And in a second, doesn't matter how much years you've done things right. You've done one mistake. Boom, you just lost the trust. And it's very hard to get it back. Really hard. So the fact here is that you want to build on that relationship, but do not compromise righteousness. I'm telling you, trust and integrity is critical. Absolutely critical. Back to you, Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to add a little something on that. Like, for example, I like to use examples, live examples. A gentleman that was sponsored by a lady that he knew. She no longer stayed in. They were Spanish speaking, and then the upline to that lady, they didn't speak the language. So he contacted one of our Spanish leaders, and this lady said, "Well, we'll find out. We'll just ask Chris and Tammy to see if that person that was looking for some Spanish support." That was the bottom line. He wanted to know who in his organization was Spanish speaking so he could get some support. And we dug through and we found the core leader, and that core leader was able to find out who was the Spanish leader that could support them. And that is integrity, you guys. This is really, really important. So teach your people to build this business with integrity, and you know, the more trustworthy you are, the more people are going to stay with you. And like Chris said, you know, if you blow it, I mean, some people blow it in life, and you know what? You can't beat yourself up your whole life. You just have to work hard at being better. And we've all done things in our lives that might not have been 100% truthful. And you know what? You learn from that and get better. Okay. But in business, I don't care if it's network marketing or traditional business, your clients, your association, you need to be that example of what trust means, what integrity is. You build a culture within your organization around this, and watch a team fly. I'm telling you, it's powerful. Yeah, this is the best part about the community is people can go to each other with confidence, with trust, and everybody is honoring and loving each other.
I agree, Tammy. So now, folks, we're going to shift a little bit here as we're coming to an end with this presentation here, is introducing the gut backup onboarding process.
Mhm.
Now, you will be introduced to different style of getting started, which you will find that the patterns are very similar, right? Some may ask you to watch some videos, some may ask you to listen to some audios, and follow some process and all of these things, and it's all common sense. Um, you want to keep things really, 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 really simple. So let's go through the gut backup onboarding process. And this has to be simple. Remember, folks, people are busy today, and people are not. What's I'm looking for? They're not patient to learn. So if there's too much to learn, it's going to take the back seat, right? Until I have time, which may never happen. So things have to be very simple. Very first thing, sorry guys, I just took a snapshot of my back office here. So you can see here that use this tool, the Mac version and the Windows version. And it's also important that just like on your, when you have an app on your phone, sometimes there's updates, right? And you'll be notified when these updates are there. Just make sure that you update the software to always be current. Very, very, very important. But as I stated earlier in a presentation when we started, it's important that people have a value for that service, not just about making money. It is important, folks, but in some cases, maybe the money didn't come as fast as they were expecting. Maybe they didn't do the work, they didn't fully understand. But if they're using a product and they've been backing up their phones and all the pictures are there, at one point they're at the airport, they took a picture of something, they forgot it at home, they took the picture of it, and because they took the picture of it, happens to be on their phone, or maybe you took a picture of it on your computer, or it's a PDF that's sitting on your computer and it was sitting in your download directory or whatever, which you synchronize with the cloud. And you happen to be at the airport, you're looking for that PDF, you remember, oh, yeah, it's on my computer. Well, my computer's backed up to my cloud. You can go right there through the portal with the God Backup app and access that file, and boom, it shows up on your phone, nice and easy, that you can show, the teller that's actually getting your boarding pass and so forth. My point in saying here, it's just an example, but there's 1,000 examples we can talk about on the use of a backup service. So very, very important that people install the software. And here's the thing. I would say that 80% of users are cell phone users around the world, not necessarily laptops. Now, there is a significant amount of people like me that my laptop is my life, and I like to have all my stuff on the cloud. So if I happen to be not in front of my laptop, but I need something, it happens very often. Just yesterday, my accountant wanted me to give him all my reports from January till now. I was a little behind. It was supposed to be done at the end of June. So anyway, yesterday I went in and I created all the statements from, with all my accounts, my business account, personal account, credit cards, US, Canadian, whatever, right? It's all there. It's all into a subdirectory with my personal items and everything else, which is backed up on the cloud. And I turn around and I share that link with my accountant, and I make sure I activate it. She can download the files, and then she has everything on hand. Everything is electronically. My receipts, everything that I do, I take a picture. It gets on my phone. It gets on the cloud. Everything is there. I use a software that's not got backup that will scan my software, that will extract the HST. This is a tax that we have in Canada. Because I get money from the United States, from a company in the US. In Canada, I'm entitled to get this tax back. So this software will extract the tax, right? I'm just giving you some details outside of what we're doing here, but I want you to understand how my personal life is embedded with the use of the service. So for that reason, I need my cloud service. It's part of my daily operations. That's a prime example in my particular case. There's others that may not need much sophistication. It depends on how you run your life. But the moment someone gets emotionally connected to the service, they will remain a customer forever, over and above the income that they're earning or not. That's why the process is make sure they install the software. If all you do is you sponsor people and got backup and nobody installs the software, man, you are not going to do well in residual in the long term. You're always going to have to work to get people in to replace the ones that are leaving. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add to this, Tammy?
Yeah, and I think it's important to share with them the importance of doing this is that peace of mind, right? Is that knowing that everything is secure in the cloud service, so that you don't worry about losing stuff. So that is a big thing. That's one of my big selling features when I talk to people to bring them into the business. Is that peace of mind. Everybody's looking for peace of mind today, and yeah, and the price point, the value is so incredible. And the ones that I've actually said to me, you know, I'm not going to use all my storage. I say, well, let's get you set up. Well, you know, upload whatever we need to do. Let's see how much you're going to use, and then you can add members to your account. You know, the family members. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a system, right? Doesn't matter where they are in the world, you just add somebody and you can share the terabytes with these people. And I'm sure that there's people that even share the cost and share the amount of terabytes with each other. So anyways, you know, it's all about being creative, right? But the most important thing, you guys, and if you haven't done that yet with your new associate, that's your assignment today. Write down the names of the people, even if it's yourself included, is to get your devices uploaded. Number one. And if there's any challenges in the process, if you watch the video and you stop it and start it and stop it and start it, which is what I did to get the process going, then everything is done now. So you got that set and forget, right? And make sure that every single person has done that, because Chris is absolutely accurate. People will leave if they are spending money and they're not getting something from it because they haven't taken the time to do their backups. Okay, so it's important. And then, of course, when people leave, what do? They talk bad. But at the end of the day, it had nothing to do with the company. It had nothing to do with the upline. It had everything to do with them not showing up and not getting their devices set up. Okay, so it's really, really important that we get that happen. Step number 2 is to make sure that your new people understand their links and know how to access their links so that they can start telling other people about it. That's a high priority, right? So there you go. Chris took a screenshot. You've got English, French, Italian, and Spanish. And so the first link, you want to make sure you copy your links and that they're just so easily accessible to copy paste. Okay, so he's going to show it to you in real time.
Oops.
Mr. Yoda.
Okay, carry on.
Okay, so the first link, I use this link, the Got Back Up Tour, when I'm talking to somebody and they say, oh my gosh, that sounds interesting, send me your link. That's when I'm going to send this one, because there's a video, they put their name and their email, and then they click on to reserve their position. And I kind of walk them through a little bit of the process that, you know, it's going to give them some more information. Then they can click on to reserve the spot, take that position, and put all their information and get started. I even let them know, you guys, about the upsell so that they're aware, because some people, they're not used to that, right? So I let them know, you know, once you make a decision whether you want to pay monthly or yearly, then the next, and you put all your information, the next step, they're going to ask you if you want an extra terabyte. If you don't feel like you need an extra terabyte, just say no thanks. And then I let them know that there's actually an email marketing system that they can personalize. If it's something that they feel they're not going to use, then I tell them, just to bypass that, just say I'll do it myself and bypass the 50%, and then it goes to the final. And I think a lot of people are used to that, honestly, because of today's marketing online. They're used to, all that upselling. So I do let people know when I send this to them. If I have somebody that says, Tammy, I'm in, just get me in. I'm going to send them the link where you can see gotbackup.com, the one that Chris is showing right there. That's the link that I send them, because it's just a quick set. I tell them, click on get started today, click on the center one, decide whether you want to do year or month, and then fill out the information. And there's and then they'll get the upsell at the end when they do the final process, filling out all of the information. I let them know, just if you're not interested in those, just say no thanks and go to the final sign up, final part of the sign up. And then the next one that I basically work with 3 links. And I show people the 3 important links. And the third one that I talk about is always the presentations, to make sure they have that link handy, because they're going to be inviting people to presentations all the time. And you want to set that mindset, to set that stage that they're going to be sharing this link all the time with people, right? Because you want them to invite people to the presentations. And so that link, I get people to invite people to the Wednesday night, to invite people to the Friday at 11 a.m. if it's a time that works for them. But obviously, everybody knows people in different time zones in different parts of the world, so they want to leverage these times. And then I show them on the sidebar, Chris. If you go on the sidebar, well, go down first. Before you do that, just go, yeah. And there's some, if you want to market stuff online, you can see this one here is a solo ad. Chris and I have used just $10. Yeah, is that the one? Just $10? Yeah, we've used this one when we did trade shows, when we wanted to get people's name and email pretty quick. We've used this one as well. We actually created a QR code, put our link in, and yeah, so that's been very helpful when you want to get people's information pretty quick. So that's pretty well it that I show the people who are getting started, so they know what link do they have to invite people, what link do they have to get somebody started right away, and what link do they have for somebody who's just curious and want to get to know a little bit more about Got Backup.
And the last few slides that we have here for you folks is, again, first one, install the software, very important, and make sure they know where their link is, which one they can pick from, so they can immediately start promoting their business, very important. But the other thing is, they need to know they don't need to understand the comp plan. They don't need to understand bonuses. They don't need to understand anything at this point other than what do they need to do. Okay. And when I mentioned about setting some goal steps, right? Well, this is it, is you want to reach copper. The key here is if you are a copper, and every time someone you enroll becomes a copper, you're going to move up the ranks very quickly. This is why you will find that someone you didn't hear about, suddenly there's an email, they're gold. They're platinum, and suddenly they're sapphire. Oh my God, now they're emerald. That's because they are recruiters. But instead of just recruiting people blindly, putting them on left and right and left and right and left and right, they are making sure that everybody that they recruit is aware of these steps. Enroll one on the left, one on the right. The moment you do that, now you don't just get paid when you sponsor someone. We call it a CAB, the customer acquisition bonus. Often we call them faster commission. That's kind of a term we're used to. That's the money that gets paid to you when someone enrolls. They get the $10 a month package, you get $20. They get the $100 package for the year, they get $50. This is really cool, folks. $50 a pop every time you bring someone in. That is hot. But then you start earning what we call cycles when you start meeting the minimum requirements. Now, I'm assuming that you know the comp plan a little bit here, that you have 4 people on your left, 2 people on your right, boom, it triggers a cycle. Well, the moment you're a copper, now you start earning cycles on tier 1. There's 2 tiers, tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 2 is a bigger amount than tier 1. But the point here is you want to move up the ladder. One is you want to hit copper, and you want to repeat that again. So there's 2 on your left, 2 on your right. Very important, because all the way up to black diamond, that's the requirement that is required for you to do. You're probably going to do more than that, but that's the minimum requirement. And then the rest is not just about you, but it's about building a team. And when the system sees that you have 25 plus in your enrollment tree, again, if you don't fully understand the difference between the 2-team tree and the enrollment tree, they're counting the people that you have sponsored and everybody they sponsor from someone you brought in. That's enrollment tree. And when we talk about the 2-team tree, that's just everybody, spillover, people above you, putting people in your down, all of these things, right? So we're talking about here enrollment tree. And there's videos explaining the difference between an enrollment tree and a 2-team tree. Then at that point, now you've enrolled at least 10 people. Okay. Now, the good news is you only need 5 to become a goal. But the point here that's really, really, really important is if you teach these simple steps, those 4 benchmark, and that's all they need to know, keep things simple. The people that are willing to make this happen for themselves, they will do the work. The ones that don't, it's okay. Love them where they are. It's just the way things are. Some people work, some people don't. You don't have to force people. This is a free army, not a dictatorship. If you treat your business like a dictatorship, I assure you, you will not have a long team for long. You will not have a team for long. But that's this work. This is how this works. And nobody's working in your team. Very simple. Go get new people. That's what Tammy said earlier. Find new people. Don't just dwell on the 4 or 5 or 6 people you're sponsored and hoping that they're going to do something. And if they don't, lash out on them. That is not role a good sponsor. You work with people. Remember, it is a free army and it's not dictatorship. Go get more people to replace the ones that are not willing. And you know what I found interesting? There's some folks that came into my business almost 2 years ago, well, 18 months or so. And we tell them, you know, Chris, there's not a lot of opportunity out there that people can afford. Got backup. It's like, it's so easy to get in. It's so inexpensive. And the potential, it's actually quite impressive once you understand the plan. And boom, you ignited. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting. Some people will come back as long as you're consistent and congruent in sharing the same information and not jumping ship every 3 minutes because another deal just was presented to you. That's the difference between a professional enroller and someone else. I don't want to say the name I have in mind. Okay. So very important, folks. The 4 benchmark. This is what you need to do. If you don't understand the comp plan, don't worry about understanding the engine of this amazing vehicle. Just understand that you need your fob. You need to have it around the proximity. Press the button to start the car, and then just press the gas pedal, or if depending on the kind of car you have, and start steering, right? Simple. Start driving. Start moving forward. Don't get stuck on, I don't know how, I don't understand this. That's all good. Focus on that. Sponsor one on the left, sponsor one on the right. Make sure you've installed the software. And every time someone comes in, focused on that. You will grow an organization that will pay you over time. As we end, Tammy.
Yeah. So I know our timing is a little bit over. And there's a couple other steps that I like to share in the back office. You might just want to write it down when you're talking to the new people, is when they go into My Business and they have the live webinars, I make sure that they go there and they see what's available that the company has. And a lot of leadership now, phenomenal leaders in Got Back Up, are creating their own team presentations as well. So make sure you're plugged in to what's available so that you can teach your people what's available, you know, being part of team stuff. And that's really how we get people started. And then we give, like I said, you got to give somebody an assignment, give them a step. And then once they follow through with it, then you can move forward and give them another step. Okay. And when you follow through the process, that's when you're going to breed leadership, because if they know how to do it, they can teach it. But if they have no idea what to do because somebody just signed them up and made their $50 or $20, and then they're off to whatever, then they're lost in the woods. That's why I always say when a new member comes in, they're lost in the woods. They don't know what to do. There's nobody supporting them. Build deep, you guys, too. Support within the organization. Don't just take care of the people you brought in, because not everybody you bring in, as much as we want them to do something, not everybody's going to do something. So people need to be plugged in, and supported. And then that's when organizations absolutely thrive. And the best part, anybody who knows me, I like to celebrate. I like to celebrate victories. Very important. When somebody does something, you want to make sure that you're cheering them on, make sure that they're getting their recognition posts out there, and teaching this also within your team. Yeah.
So, folks, in closing here, it's important that you follow the ingredients that are shared in this training. I really, really believe it will help you. We don't have all the answers, but I can assure you that what we shared works. We've done very well for ourselves, and not just ourselves, but we've helped a lot of teams which have grown to amazing leadership that are, same as us or even better than we are. This is awesome. When your kids grow up to be better than you, I just love it with a passion. So don't resent that, folks. It's never about you always want to be better than the entire team. There's some people that are just have incredible talent. Let them run, let them ride, let them succeed, let them thrive, right? Don't get in the way. And then again, you're the recipient of that. And like Tammy say, celebrate, recognition, rewards. BBs cry for it. Adult dies for it. So we'll end on this note here, folks. Thank you so much for attending. I hope this information was insightful for you. And I know that Tammy certainly appreciates sharing this with all of you. It is recorded in real time. So it is in the playlist. If you look at the Saturday calls, it's the most recent one. And if not, you can always play with the order on your side and order it as you see fit as the most recent one. And you're going to see the most recent presentations that are always at the top. Okay, so take advantage of all the information that is provided here, folks. It's all designed to help you grow your business. So have yourself a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you on Wednesday at Joel's webinar at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Bye for now, everybody.